Recording in progress.
Good evening and welcome to another exciting episode of Goth Yearbook. It is I, your host, as always, Eric, aka the Eric Wynn, and with me, as always, is that hostess with the mostest, Caitlin, aka the Caitlin D. Caitlin, how's it nails drying?
Man, I thought you were gonna go
No, not yet.
Okay, you have a lead-in.
Yeah.
The nails are honestly doing black is it's always an exercise in patience for me because I gotta wait like at least half an hour before I touch anything. So this was a perfect timing because I was like, what do I need to touch while I'm on the podcast?
Hey, absolutely nothing. Just the hearts of our listeners out there. Am I right?
That's right.
So. So in a bid to be more professional, like a true, like fucking, this is Letterman up here. I got no cards, and Caitlin, my little
nothing is as professional as pointing out that you're prepared.
One of my PAs, they brought this stack to me. I don't know. Thank you, Murph. But it says here, someone had a little bit of a whoopsie daisy last night involving their slipper.
Wow.
What if I looked over and the guest like left the Zoom?
I can tell that you like worked on that joke, and it's like I'm not even sure the transcript is gonna pick up on it because you laughed so hard at the end of it.
Did you even pick up on it?
Okay, I think you said I had a whoopsie daisy in my slipper.
Yeah,
which makes it sound like I pooped in my slipper.
Well, I mean, I didn't really talk to you about it since then, so who knows
I know that. Okay, so I woke up last night at like 2 a.m. and honestly, I wasn't sleeping. I was like trying to fall asleep. I was like weirdly wired last night, and
I could tell actually because I like sent one thing to you real quickly, not know where it was like ba 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 ba. I was like, oh, someone's awake.
Go to hell. I put my feet in my slippers, so I was gonna go pee, and then I feel this like bat, and it hurt, and yeah, I like shake my slipper out, and a fucking scorpion like scurries off.
Oh,
and
white or black? Like one of those yellow.
Brown. It was only about this big, which if you're listening at home is about 2 inches, and micro scorpion, and I was absolutely horrified, as you can imagine. I like don't have any lights on or anything, so I start screaming, and then and then I like immediately like open my iPad. It was like the first thing I did, and I'm like Googling like what do you do when a scorpion stings you? And it was like, so it's interesting because they have a reputation for being like deadly, very, very dangerous, all this stuff. And apparently, according to the Poison Control Center, there hasn't been a scorpion related death for over 50 years. So
my friend, I can be a bad friend sometimes, but I will say I saw that same stat last night because immediately I started looking it up because I was like, what if like I just didn't hear from Caitlin for 24 hours and I was like, you're just like dead poisoned scorpion attack like in the middle of your place.
You know, I've been meaning to tell someone this, and I think you're actually the perfect person, but if you ever don't hear from me for like 24 to 48 hours, I am dead. Okay. So like you need to make sure someone comes and feeds Prince Charming.
Okay, hey, fair enough.
And gets him to a shelter. Not a shelter, like I mean like a palace or something. So I'm like doodling it, and it was like, so, and one of my friends down here, he very kindly called a hospital and was like talking to them and was like, my friend got stung by a scorpion, like should she go in? And I fortunately live like 10 minutes away from like, the best hospital in the state because I happen to live next to the Four Seasons down here. Oh, okay. Wow. Can you cut that out?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
You have to cut that out. But yeah. Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
Big time. I just started sweating. So I was not worried about, okay, if I go to the hospital, like I don't know, they can give me anti-venom or whatever. but it wasn't that bad. It didn't hurt that bad. It's more of like it feels more like, you know how it like an electric shock, but especially like if you're like plugging something in and like your fingers wet and it like touches, you know, like that feeling. It's like, that's what my toe has felt like since the bite since the sting. And yeah,
I got you fucked
like
up with my bite sound effect. What?
Yeah, it's kind of hard to do a sting sound effect. And so I kind of just sat and I was like doing my meditation and breathing and doing my hippie shit and being like, all right, I'm going to tap into the like energy of the venom and see what it's doing in my body and feel into it and see if I get any cool imagery. That shit, and I don't want to encourage anyone to seek out scorpion stings because they can be dangerous for some people. Like you can have convulsions and shortness of breath and nausea. But and when I read those symptoms, I was like, oh, you mean anxiety? I think I can handle anxiety. And so I was like, and immediately I did notice my breathing was constricted, but I think it was just from adrenaline, from my body being like, oh, poison.
Yeah.
And
when I Googled it, it was like listening to things he did. And like number 4, it's like, it was almost like too cute. He was like, and by the way, stay calm. And I was like, if I got stung by a scorpion, I would not be able to be like, I need to like really center myself and get calm. I'd be like freaking out.
Well, what was really perfect about it was I was working on my website last night and I was like, I've been working on like validating my own work. And I really have spent just a tremendous amount of time meditating and like balancing my own nervous system in my life because I used to have very bad anxiety attacks, and I no longer really deal with that unless I'm in a very high stress situation. All kinds of things. And I straight up, I was like, all right, well, this is time to prove it that I can do this. I did. I like meditated and I was slowing down my breathing, and I had all these really beautiful, I don't know, like revelations come in. And also it was like kind of hallucinogenic. I was seeing like neon light trails and stuff. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, this is some good shit. And
this is some good scorpion shit right here.
This is some good poison.
You have to go to Coachella typically to get that kind of scorpion sting action.
I mean, you have tattoos. Like, have you ever gotten that like kind of high from it where you start, you're very activated? Mm-hmm. It was a bit like that, but it had its own very specific energy, and it was very strong, like death energy, which is the reason there's the Scorpios are related with like sex, death, and rock and roll. You know, it was very hardcore, but also had this very light energy where and I looked it up later, and it felt very resonant with some things that I have been thinking about and talking to some close friends about in the last several days. And even like our podcast last week, talking about death. And one of the quotes that I've been talking about with my friends has been like this Robert Moss quote. And he says, one of the greatest crimes in modern society is turning death into a tragedy. Because if you look at a lot of, you know, earth-based or indigenous cultures, death is just, it's not something that's feared. You can still grieve a loss. You can still grieve someone not being in your orbit physically anymore. But it's not this, we have this sense of people die and it's this huge wah fest, you know, and that's not grow up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I picture you going to a funeral and being like, "Oh, look at this big old wham fest."
Babies, grow up. So it was interesting. And then today I buried the scorpion in the front yard and thanked it for its scorpion medicine, and that was that. Oh. And by the way, listeners at home, Eric, I told him I was stung by a scorpion, and now I'm hearing that he Googled it. But then I literally sent another message and he didn't even read it until this morning. So I just want to put that out there.
My bad. I read like one thing for like 5 seconds and I was like, she's fine.
You're like, she sounds like she's got a friend down there that cares.
Oh shit, I'm crying. Well, we wish the Scorpion luck on their next plane of existence. Yeah, watch
Hell
those
yeah.
nails. Um,
My face is itchy.
probably from all that scorpion fucking poison coursing through your body. What if you're like, you went on that whole rant, you're basically like, so actually it was all really cool, and like from my vantage point, you're like severely like puffed up, you're like red splotches all over. It's like you're clearly like in distress.
I actually died last night.
Yeah, very delusional headspace. I love it. Well, I don't know, Caitlin. On that note, I did write down so I got like all these pre-interview things, and now I'm looking at them. It's like a fever dream. One of the things I wrote was Balto with a question mark because I. Well, maybe this is a good note to get our guests in here because I asked them ahead of time. I was like, hey, what are some movies you grew up on? 'Cause, you know, for some of the games later and all that. And one of the things they wrote was Balto. I read it, and the first thing I thought was, I looked at it, and I was like, the fuck is Balto? And I looked it up, and I was like, okay, I think I vaguely remember the commercials for it. So, uh, without further ado, let me get into this. Our guest this evening is a writer and artist from New York City whose new book, Quickie, just published through the Dream Boy Book Club, which is a mixed media project that combines poetry, fine art, and iPhone photography. I swear I can speak, folks. Without further ado, let's please welcome to the show the one and the only Lily Lady. Wow, that was really loud.
Thanks for having me. I feel like I'm really curious about scorpion poison right now. I would love to, I don't know, go on a scorpion poison retreat.
Oh man, I really that's the opposite of the effect I want to have right now.
It read like a strong scorpion poison advertisement, and like facts from like scorpion poisoning, like I don't know, off-site medical wellness places, because I'm down. It sounded great.
I think I'll just put out there, I think one of the things I read about it was in cultures, it's seen as like a gift when the scorpion chooses to dance with you.
Oh.
Which is like a euphemism for it stinging you. And so I would suggest just being open to scorpion poison and maybe spend some time in Mexico or New Mexico walking around barefoot if you really want to. But also it can be very dangerous for some people. So I cannot recommend it. Please do not come after me if there are scorpion authorities.
Well, I'm a Scorpio moon, so I think I'm Scorpion curious.
Right. What's your Leo?
Oh yeah, Leo Sun, Aquarius rising, Scorpio moon. It's a funky little mixture.
I like it.
That is funky. I feel like if you were a man and I dated you, you would like ruin my life.
I would. It's possible. Maybe in the future. I would love the opportunity to.
Spoken like a true scorpion hidden in a slipper.
Hell yeah. Well, thanks for having me, y'all. This is already so fun.
So, Quickie, when did Quickie officially drop?
Quickie dropped just in March. It's a whirlwind. Yeah, Quickie went on pre-order on Valentine's Day, and then a month out, it dropped on Dream Boy Book Club site. And now I'm doing a little tour. I just got back from LA, and I'm in New York for a hot second where I live before I go to continue the tour. I'm going to Massachusetts, I'm going to Chicago, going all around.
Hell yeah. How do you, when you're doing like the readings, how do you decide what selections you go? Do you switch up each time, or do you have like your set like 5 or 10 that you do?
I never read from the book. I'm not going to read the book. I figure if people come to the readings, they're going to either get the book or they've already read the book. I mean, I wrote the book, so I don't really feel like, let's not go back there. Let's keep it moving, So I read a new essay every reading that I do or try to. So in LA, I had 2 readings where I read this essay about self-care, and then I'm debuting some new medium that I'm calling socialist erotica. So I just write new stuff and then talk about the book.
I feel like LA is a very good marketplace for socialist erotica.
Yeah, LA was down. I had a great time. I ate so much acai. I went on a lot of hikes and pretended that I liked going on hikes. I was great going to LA. I was like, all right, I just went to CVS. I got my nails for LA. I'm doing my face mask for LA. I land and like I just had it was like I felt like I was a freshman in high school again. My face was like you are going through puberty now. And the entire time I was in LA, I had like hella whiteheads. It was a very cute look. But you know, I'm back on the East Coast and my skin is cleared up, so I'm just feeling like a brand new chapter.
I'm actually going to LA tomorrow, and it's funny because I live somewhere now where there's definitely people that keep up with the parents, but it's just the weather is so humid, and I live right next to the ocean. Like I kind of stopped caring. I'm not caring as much, and then I'll get these memories pop up on my phone, you know, and I'm like, damn, I used to really put it together before I left the house in the morning.
It's great to be in a not caring
Now
mode.
I'm like, yeah, now I'm like, my roots aren't done. I try to keep my nails done, but that's also new. I don't know. I do appreciate, I am planning though, when I go there, I am planning on getting like a real good pedicure. I haven't found a good one down here.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Yeah. I think that in LA, I think I just strive to be alternative hot. You know, it's like the market is saturated for traditional hot. So if I can just hit the bar for alternative hot, I'm cooking with fire.
Socialist sexy. That'll be the look.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it won't just be LA. It's like everyone's really starting to fucking just be like at the cusp of like a huge, massive uproar over capitalism. So socialist sexy will become the norm sexy, I think,
That's
within
true.
like 5 years.
So I hope everyone's reading Conquest of Bread by Peter Kropotkin.
Hell yeah. Did anyone else just hear of like a group of woo girls or something? Just like I heard the audio of like one or two girls out of nowhere just go like in the background with one of your things going woo. Am I tripping?
Maybe they're in Manhattan. It's possible they're outside. I got the windows open.
Oh yeah, it'll be like our not to bring it back to and just like that. We finally closed the book on that, but like that Carrie looking over the balcony and being like, "Why are these kids being so loud in Manhattan?"
I'm fascinated that you live in Midtown and I find it refreshing because I feel like everyone I ever meet that has lived in New York or that lives in New York is like, don't go to Midtown.
Mm-hmm.
It's like such a vibe.
Like that. I mean, I grew up in the city, so I've lived all over the place. I mean, except Staten Island, of course. But yeah, I've lived everywhere. I live in Midtown because my partner has the spot. It's great. I mean, anytime I tell people that I live in Midtown, they're like, "Why?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's great to live in a place that's, you know, relatively blah, and then go out to fun places. You know, you can always retreat at the end of the night to a place where at the corner there's a Domino's, there's a bodega, and there's an ATM. What else do you need in life?
Yeah, I mean, compared to people who like purposely choose to live like on, like it's a trek. Like an event will happen. They're like, "Oh, I'm going to go see my favorite bands." Like, "Oh, by the way, I got planned that like at midnight when the show gets out, I also have to like do like a 2-hour trek just to get back to my fucking apartment."
Yeah, that's real. That's super real. That's like when in LA for half the trip we were staying out in Hermosa Beach at this little
Oh, wow.
motel by the beach, which was pretty romantic, but it was a
You had
hike.
to, yeah, that is a trek if you're going out to if you're doing events in the city and then doing that. Holy shit.
Track. But you know, I like an end of the night cruise. I like to decompress in an Uber or a car and just like think about the night before I get back to the spot.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I had a dream recently where I was taking a subway after a late night out, and I was in a city like New York, and it was very busy, and it was like 3 a.m, but there were still a bunch of people around. And I remember I took a subway, and then I got to my home, and I just walked, and the whole time there were people around. And I've never lived in New York. I always lived in LA, and I was like, damn, that was like such a weird feeling of safety in my dream compared to, I think the only problem with the driving culture, not the only problem, one of the problems with the driving culture and that like long trek, if it's the only option, is first of all, it's expensive. Secondly, sometimes you finish a night and you're drunk and you can't get an Uber, or you're alone and you're getting into a car with a stranger and it's just you two. And then like, even when I would get dropped off on my street, if he drops me off down the street and then I walk up to my house, that's the block and there's no one around, it's super quiet. And there was like, I never even thought about it while I was living there, but it was funny because it only came about in the dream that I was like, this is nice. I feel safe going home from a night out.
So interesting. You're dreaming about living in New York. I wonder if that's a premonition.
Oh, absolutely not. I would honestly rather die.
I tell everyone this. I think everyone, I mean, move to New York. That'll be the platform where, you know, the Leo Scorpion Aquarius breaks your heart.
No, I love New York. I have nothing against New York, but I just don't like living in urban centers. I really enjoy spaciousness and less people. I do like, I mean, one of the things I liked about LA is you can kind of get that space, but there's still a lot of cultural diversity and culture in general, different industries. And I like that about New York. Maybe when I'm older, I would have, if I have money at some point in my life, like a good amount of money, I would have like a place there kind of thing, or go spend like some time there. But
yeah, right by the park.
Yeah, and I also have always had outdoor cats, so I kind of have to live places where they can roam.
Totally, yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, if you're just joining us, Caitlin D, vehemently anti-New York, going on another famous anti-New York rant, and special guest Lily Lady joining us.
Well, I mean, Eric, you couldn't live there either because you have like 25 pets.
That's true. The chickens would not fare well. And well, I don't know, Gonzo and what's his lady's name? His chicken. They like hop in taxis all the time. Gonzo from the Muppets, I'm talking about. He has a chicken that's like his partner.
I was like, are you talking about Hunter S. Thompson?
No, I'm talking about like the Gonzo with like the nose. Like his like best lady is a chicken, but there's like other chickens that are there too, but he also has like his main chicken lady. And they're always hopping in taxis and shit like that. So I don't know. That would be actually sick if I rolled up to spots and it was me and like the 4 chickens and Murph and like all tumbling out of a fucking Uber.
2 cats, 2 dogs, 12 chickens. Yeah.
3 cats.
There's evidence of it though. You could live in, you know, let me pitch New York to you as someone that has, you know, if you have chickens, you have lots of off-color animals, you got a meerkat, you could live in Sheepshead Bay. You could live in Coney Island. You could live in Forest Hills. I could list like 5 more neighborhoods. It'll be like a little residential. You'll have space. There'll be trees. Maybe you'll need a car, but you could take the NQR.
All right, I'm not opposed.
You know, everyone just move to New York and all your dreams will come true.
All right, breaking news. Eric and I are moving to New York.
Yep.
And so I no longer live in the portion of the country that is going to be edited out by Eric later.
That we won't mention is may or may not be by a famous resort of any kind.
Why would you do it again?
I didn't even say the name of it. Oh Lord.
I know. Massive paranoia vibes here.
Lily, I did want to talk real quickly about the list of movies that you did send over. We actually got a lot of questions and we got voicemails, things like that. So we'll get into those quickly. But Balto, your list. So for the listeners at home, I always kind of reach out to our guests a little ahead of time and be like, hey, what are some movies, things like that. I try to get like a little bit of a vibe and maybe set something up. And your list was just incredible. Gummo and Kids sandwiched between like Balto and The Parent Trap.
Yeah, it's chaos vibes.
Yeah.
Watch all at once with your whole family.
And the funniest part was, oh god, I got pulled up now. The Balto, which I honestly like could not remember for a second. I was like, oh my gosh, like our guest is like talking about probably some like cool like Eastern European like Criterion Collection like movie I've never even heard of before. And I looked it up on my phone, but like the internet at my work was kind of going slow, and I just saw, okay, here it was. As my internet was like trying to load up, the only clear thing that came up was Bob Hoskins as the snow goose Boris. Which only reinforced for 2 seconds my like belief that I was like, oh my god, like Bob Hoskins played like a snow goose. Like what sort of like
of high culture.
But no, well, I mean, hey, I've never seen it, so I can't say anything. But it looks like this was one of Kevin Bacon's greatest. Would you say that this was like your number one cartoon from your childhood?
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, it's a tie between this and Iron Giant.
Oh my gosh,
But
good.
the only reason why I didn't say Iron Giant is because my dad cries every time in Iron Giant. Not just at the end, like the whole Iron Giant is so upsetting for him for some reason. And so it's a beautiful movie, but it's just tinged by that memory. And so Balto is where it's at. Balto has a little bit of climax. It gets a little intense. You think some spicy things are going to happen, but it works out in the end. Spoilers. I mean, 1995, if you haven't seen it by now, I'm not spoiling anything by saying it works out in the end. But yeah, it's great. I mean, it's really, I highly recommend it to everyone.
I just looked this movie up and I was looking at the poster. It has major Mandela effect vibes for me because I feel like it has this like familiar feeling, but I don't remember ever watching it. And when Eric said, "Have you ever seen the movie Balto?"
Yeah,
I
forgot
like,
to reach
what
out
the
to you
fuck are you talking about? And then he just never responded.
You might have seen it. Maybe like in like 4th grade, your homeroom teacher didn't want to teach and like rolled in the DVD set, and it was like one class was spent watching Balto, and it vaguely related to geography or something.
Lily, I'm not gonna lie. DVD was like coming out when Caitlin and I were like probably like graduating high school.
It rolled in the
VHS.
VHS, or just did a live action of Balto. But you that would have been pretty memorable.
They read the stage play.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's about a 12-year-old husky, and if that's not just a testament to defying age categorizations and I don't know, all types of things.
Hell yeah. Well, you heard it here, folks. 12-year-old huskies, and we say like lots of spicy moments, lots of climaxes. I'm watching it tonight.
Yeah, spicy moments and climaxes is actually how I think Disney pitched it.
Puts it like on the Disney Plus, like that's like the subcategories.
Spicy moments, climaxes.
Old dog.
Not brought to you by Weinstein Company.
Oh my god. Incredible. Well, we got ourselves a bevy of questions, things like that. What do you say? You want me to dig right into these for you? These were sent in by some folks who wanted you, Lily, to answer these. We'll start right at the top. I'll get into the voicemails in a little bit, but we'll start with some of the written ones first. They want to know, who are some of your favorite writers / authors / poets?
Oh, what a great question. You know, I really love right now and always Terrence Hayes. Terrence Hayes is my favorite writer, poet, all types of things. And I run this poetry workshop called Scribe Tribe. And it's kind of a homies for homies thing over Zoom that I do. Is very informal, but almost every time we read a Terrence Hayes poem. And yeah, who else? I love Eileen Kahn, is incredible. And Elaine Kahn, Eileen Miles, got those mixed up. And yeah, who else do I mean, honestly, I'm really liking my publisher's books. John Foster, he's incredible. Yeah, I get the most, I would say, inspiration from like across mediums. So I don't really get much inspiration for my writing from writers or poets. I get inspiration from comics or cartoons or going to museums and looking at paintings. Like I don't know. When I'm writing, I don't really read anyone else's work. Like I stay super siloed in visual. So like I go to a lot of museums, I go to a lot of galleries. But now I'm not writing much other than these essays. And so I'm reading like a ton of Terrence Hayes again, which is amazing. Like I highly recommend everyone looks at American Sonnets for My Past and Future Assassin. Every single one is like just gorgeous. So yeah, nice. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Caitlin? I know that your boy Moss.
Robert Moss. Yeah, I mean, I read a ton of nonfiction, like consciousness literature and natural healing, obviously, because that's my line of work. For pleasure, I've been reading Isabel Allende. I'm actually reading a Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who's very famously known for the book Women Who Run with the Wolves, which is a nonfiction book that I recommend to everyone, not just women. And it's about myths and stories of the wild woman archetype. And just that archetype that has very much been obviously lost in our culture, not lost in our culture, but, denigrated. And been really, really enjoying that. It's very soul nourishing to read that. Since I'm living in Mexico, I have one of those like Pablo Neruda poetry books because it has the Spanish translation. So that's been like a good way for me to practice Spanish while also reading poetry that I've been enjoying. But yeah, so much nonfiction lately. And then honestly, I read so many, I don't want to call them trash authors, but a lot of beach reads that it's the kind of thing where like you don't need to focus or remember it. You don't need to be moved gutturally by it. It's just like semi-erotic elves fighting over gold kind of thing.
Not the direction I thought that was going to go. From the screenwriter of Balto.
Yeah, exactly. That's their sequel. So I'm like, whoa, I need to read those books.
I mean, it kind of sounds like J.R. Tolkien when I put it like that, but
no, that doesn't sound like a beach read to me. When I think beach read, I think like kind of someone's murdered, but it's really sexy at the same time. It's like there's a bunch of people vacationing after college, but then hilarity ensues.
Like Gillian Flynn type Gone Girl type shit or something, or Nora Roberts.
My thing here has been I will literally read anything that is put in front of me if I'm at the beach or by a pool. My favorite reading is that like laying in the sun kind of thing. But weirdly, I haven't really found a lot of bookstores around here, and it's just I'm actually planning on bringing back a bunch of new books when I go to LA because the Kindle at the beach thing is just not a vibe. It's not great.
That's fair.
So that's where I'm at. Also, one thing I was thinking about both your work and John's work, and I don't want to make this comparison like I don't think you guys were influenced by it in any way, but it does remind me of sort of the like Chuck Palahniuk era when he was it's like very like and Chad Fierstad are also a friend of the show. He writes like this too. It's just very stream of consciousness in a way, but also very intentional and a lot of details, but also it's this sense of this story brewing underneath the details that are sort of coming out like a stream, you know? So I loved Chuck Palahniuk when I was a kid, when I was like in my early 20s and as a teenager, I used to just tear through all of he was like releasing a lot of new books when I was growing up. And I just used to like rip through those. And I got to meet him actually in Chicago at a signing. And he was it was one of those moments where you realize that it really is the people that present the weirdest in life that are actually the most basic. And then the people that like are super weird and messed up on the inside look like he had like a white button-up shirt and jeans on and he was very clean cut and he was like very friendly and like nice to meet you blah blah, and then he gives this talk and he's like so I was inspired to write because my father shot my mother in the face with a shotgun while I was hiding under the bed as a little boy. It's like
damn,
that's quite an origin story.
I
mean, I don't know. I picked up Choke I was at my partner's storage unit and like brought back all these random books that I would never choose to read. And Choke was in there and I wasn't so keen on it. So maybe I'll give it another go.
I think it's because at the time there wasn't so much fiction like that.
Yeah.
And it was much more novel to write in that way. I mean, besides maybe like Tolstoy or James Joyce or like you know like these weird off-color writers that were super popular, but like you couldn't necessarily go to a bookstore like you can now and find a million stream of consciousness books that are like Some are good and some are bad, obviously. And at the time, I mean, his were very compelling for the era that they came out in. I think now if I discovered them for the first time, I would be like, this isn't necessarily like speaking to me at this point.
I'm actually, speaking of James Joyce, I'm doing the victory lap. I'm rounding the final 100 of Ulysses right now. Like, finally. Wow. I started reading this book. I never read it in high school. Probably I was crying in the bathroom when that class was happening. But I mean, I started reading this with my mom, and we go over every chapter on Zoom. And I really feel like such a bimbo when I'm reading this book. Like, I don't even, half the time I'm just along for the ride. Really, it's a lesson in surrendering, because I don't know what's going on. I think about 3% of it seeps in and makes any sense in a logical way, but maybe that's the point.
No, I have never fully read that book, because I've tried to read it a couple times, and I'm a big believer in, like, if I'm not liking a book, like, there's plenty of other books, you know.
No, teach me that, because I mean, I'm a big believer in self-punishment. So it's like, if I don't like a book, I'm like, oh, this is just my life now. So if I'm not liking it, it's just too bad. Get to the end.
You just suffer through it.
Yeah, most things. Yeah.
What about you, Eric? What are you reading these days?
I mean, to the end of time, I always will sing the praise of Samuel Beckett, the playwright and author, who did his two, like, the famous ones are Waiting for Godot and Endgame, but like all this stuff is so good. It's just about as bleak as can be for writing, and for some reason, like, I find like a lot of comfort in it. Like, I read, like, that is my beach reading. Like, for some, all this stuff, like, my theory is like all of it is like just based like on what the most horrific hangover of your life is like, and if only like everything has like a real purgatorish essence to it, and I love it. Like, everything feels like just gritty and awful and gnashing of teeth and like just grays and charcoals, and for some reason, like, I find like a deep comfort in it. I really do. And then I just had to pull it up because I always forget his name, but the author's name is Donald Ray Pollock. He wrote The Devil All the Time, which I think they turned it into a Netflix movie with Robert Pattinson, which I did not see. I assume that the acting was good, but like, I was really nervous to watch it because I just loved the book so much. It was also a very bleak book, rather. That's just set like in like the most abject, poverty-stricken parts of like West Virginia and Ohio in like the mid-century, and a lot of like serial killers and people who were like jerking off into like dirty underwear. Like, everything about it is just like fucking vile and vicious, but rather than him like saying it with like this gleeful sort of, like, he types everything very plain spoken. Like, it's almost like he does not delight in any of it. He's just like telling you exactly what's happening, which I really appreciate, because I think a lot of authors try to do that shit, but you can tell that they're like, is very masturbatory, and I feel like he's just like doing it because he just has the image in his head and he's just trying to tell you what's going on, and he's not like delighting in it or anything like that. So shout out to that. And then my actual
Capote. You seem like a Capote kind of guy.
I do like Capote. He is somewhere on the shelf. And then, of course, Caitlin, this still shocks me to this day, but when you and I both discovered that we both had The Enlightened Heart, a collection of quotes, which I do love books like that.
It's not quotes, it's poetry.
Poetry, my bad. But yeah. And of course, our guest this evening, Lily Lady.
Of course.
All right. We're going to go through a couple more of these. What is the most niche Facebook or Reddit group or chat room that you have ever followed?
So recently, I don't know if anyone saw the Kanye documentary.
Not yet. I've been saving it.
Okay, so I've been on this Reddit hole with the Kanye documentary because I wondered if I was the only one, and I'm not, that was just so fascinating. The most fascinating part of the Kanye documentary to me is the amount of times in the first episode that Kanye is either wearing his retainer, talking about his retainer, putting his retainer down on all sorts of kind of surfaces and people's houses,
like
talking
a
about
junior high kid.
Yeah. And as someone that wears my retainer as a safety blanket nonstop, my orthodontist has said, you do not need to do this. Your teeth have so many years of braces. Your majority of your life has been in braces. You're fine. I still wear my retainer all the time. And I just felt such an affinity for Kanye, making his retainer such a piece of his identity in the first episode. And so I was on Reddit just scrolling through people's reactions to the documentary, and I found my people who were also talking about Kanye and the retainer moments. And like, there was one Reddit that was like, why do people who wear retainers just always think it's okay to just put it on people's stuff? That is nasty. And it's true. I'm very willy-nilly. Yesterday I was on the plane coming back from LA. I was just like putting my retainer on the seat, just leaving it while I was going to the bathroom. Like, yeah, it's just, I felt really seen, I guess, by that Reddit community. But that's
I actually forgot, but I did watch a couple episodes of that, and I don't remember that didn't stand out to me at all. So I'll have to go back and see those. Because that's probably.
Yeah, I'll send it. I'll send you my compilation where I recorded everything. His retainers being discussed.
Was it? Sorry, go on.
I was just gonna say I lost my retainer so many times when I was a kid. They put on. It was called the permanent retainer. It was just braces because I was technically too young for the real braces. And I ended up falling on my face and having to get stitches, and that I looked like the Joker because it went through my face.
Damn.
So that's my little story about my retainer.
So do you have a permanent retainer now?
I actually have one here that I never got taken out.
I'm jealous. I have some friends that have the permanent retainer, and it looks really cool. It's like, I wish I had some gear that was just always in there.
I'm like too paranoid that my teeth are gonna fall out at this point if I take it out, because I'm like 35 years old, and I think they put it in when I was like 15.
Like a load-bearing retainer at this point.
Yeah, like my head's gonna cave in.
Knows what'll happen. It'll be just like the biblical flood.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to eat. I'm honestly just afraid my teeth will move if I take it. I don't know why. It's just, yeah.
Yeah, they might. Every time I go to the dentist, though, I tell Dr. Lynn, I'm like, can we just start over? Like, let's take them all out just for kicks and just put them all back in. And she always says no.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's so hard because, like, I don't want to give anything from your book away because I want people to go check it out. But I did make a note. My favorite, I'm just going to call it the dentist email. That is my favorite passage of the entire book. I felt like I related to so many aspects of it, and I felt like it was just brilliant.
Thank you. You know, I have a really dysfunctional relationship with Dr. Lynn, and I honestly, she should have gotten an acknowledgement. She's like truly a character, a force in my life.
Shout out Dr. Lynn.
Throw back to the literature conversation. I've been reading a lot of Nabokov as well,
Nice.
And in Lolita, apparently, I only was reminded of this because I read it so long ago. Apparently, Humbert Humbert goes to the dentist in one scene and asks for the very same thing that I constantly ask for, which is just like take out all my teeth.
Really? I don't remember that at all. I've read it so long ago.
I mean, someone just told me that, and so I mean, I'm feeling affinities, I guess, for Kanye and Humbert Humbert, and I'm not judging that right now.
Cultural icons, yeah.
That's for me and my therapist, you know.
Someone wants to know, what do you miss most about the internet from your childhood? So I guess the internet that existed back then.
Okay, the internet from my childhood, I'm still rocking in it, you know? Like, you can still make what you want from the internet. Like, the internet from growing up was super horny, super gamer. And, I mean, I'm constantly playing. I still play on Miniclip, you know? Like, I play Bubble Trouble all the time. I'm not on Club Penguin because I think I was banned for life. God. But I definitely still play all the games that I used to play. And I don't go on Tumblr as much as I did. I go on Tumblr to laugh, not to cry. So that's, I guess, a positive change. But yeah, I mean, I think the internet of my childhood was more about engaging with strangers. Oh, yeah. And so I try to do that with a regular cadence, you know, just pop on Omegle, see what's happening, who's around, who wants to chat. But yeah, I guess those are the things that I miss, but not so much miss because I still do them.
Fair enough. What about what would you say the internet of your childhood was like, Caitlin? Yours and mine. I mean, it's definitely about talking
Me,
to strangers. That I think has always been the common theme throughout the age
I
of
know.
internet.
I'm thinking of literally the dial-up where it was like you had to listen to it like and like you had to wait for it to like dial in, and then like
America
if
Online.
AOL actually loaded, it would be so exciting because it only worked like 80% of the time.
It would show like people like the AOL people like literally go like woohoo, like when you logged in.
Like,
It was like such a celebration, yeah, because it was like an 80%. I feel like it's being like generous. It was
pretty generous, yeah. And then you would have to wait to get into a chat room, and I remember there wasn't the security that there obviously is now for kids, but like Nickelodeon chat rooms, I feel like I remember were a big thing. And then it was literally like ASL, and I would always, this is like a weird thing that I would do, but I would pretend to be like a middle-aged man.
No, we were all, man. We were all trying out different avatars.
You were the only like young girl like pretending to be a middle-aged man. The interest was far more common.
Yeah.
Well, and I think it's because I was warned so many times by adults that there would be middle-aged men pretending to be younger girls, and so I was like, I need to balance this in the universe, like.
Radical.
I think I might have told this on the show before, but my mom, I remember like the first time she showed me, like we got the Dell or whatever it was, or whatever the computer was that we had back then, and she's like, look, you can go in the chat room, and some lady was like 38F, like 38 female, what about you? And I was like like 9 boy or like 9 male, and like immediately it showed like chat like discontinued. And I remember my mom at the time was like, oh, like, and I remember like that should have been like my reaction, but like little devious me, immediately I was just like, oh, okay, so next time like I lie.
Exactly. Next time you lie, that's what you learn from the internet.
Next time I'm 10 double digits.
10 3/4.
Yeah.
Yeah, the internet, I mean, it just was, all about chatting with strangers on any website, really. Like, I used to go on this website where I would cosplay as a horse and just be about, it was just like feed your horse, or, it was like Tamagotchis, but for horses. So I would take my virtual horse out and give it hay, but the other users had horses too. And just chat with them, but just would be so just like painfully horny that I would just be like, oh, your horse is really cute. Like, I love your horse. Also, are you anywhere near New York? Do you want to meet up with me?
Dude, you just unlocked these memories of I spent extensive amounts of time doing RPGs, but not the way that are like organized, not like Dungeons and Dragons in chat rooms, but it was like medieval fantasy RPGs. And I was a fucking boss in those realms. I had like 3 or 4 characters at all times, and I was like, one was an otter named Racina, and one was like a queen. Yeah, and like I would walk into the tavern,
You would walk into that tavern.
God, I missed that. That was fun.
Yeah.
This is like way revealing, but I do remember like full on when I was like probably 13 or something like that, like somehow getting in like this like chat room thing where like full on it was like this like woman was like, all right, like I want 2 guys to like fuck me right now in the chat room. And I was like, me. And it was like her and this other guy. And I remember at the time just being like, I was like, oh, like I know even now, like this feels very advanced, like what they're saying, because I was just going like, like that's hot, just like over and over. And they were like full on really getting into the weeds with it, and I was like, I feel like I'm more of a participation award in this situation than anything else. I'm not the star player on this team.
When in doubt, always, that's hot.
Yeah. Paris Hilton taught me that one.
Man.
How about a voicemail?
Yeah.
All right, let me pull it up right now. Oh my gosh. Sorry guys, I just got my emergency alert thing. An endangered
child abduction.
Actually, it's an elderly person. I've never seen that before.
On the internet alone.
All right, where is it?
Hey, party animals. My name's John. first, thanks for taking my call. And thanks, Lily, for letting me publish your book. That was really nice of you. Second, and this is sort of part of a general apology world tour I'm on, and mostly just for Eric and Caitlin. Just wanted to apologize for ghosting Goth Yearbook like 2-ish years ago. I can't remember what happened, but wanted to like tell all the kids out there that's not a super cool thing to do. And third, back to Lily, I haven't had a chance to read your book yet, but can you like maybe give me a quick like Spark Notes version of the plot? Just to set the mood or whatever. Thanks, cool kids. See you later.
Wait, he published your book, but he hasn't read it?
So much there.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack on this one.
Yeah, do we want to unpack the ghosting situation?
You know what's crazy is that was supposed to be, no joke, I looked it up because I've been like, because Caitlin and I started doing like this version of Goth Yearbook exactly 2 years ago, like 3 weeks ago. And it was almost 2 years ago to the day that he was supposed to come on. He didn't, but it was a month into quarantine. People were, having all sorts of things. Who knows? It's all chill over here. It did crack me up because it gives me the readout, and it said he said 2-ish years ago, and it wrote it as Jewish years ago.
I vaguely remember it. I frankly like sometimes forget entire shows that we do. So don't have to worry about me taking these things personally because I am living in the moment, baby. And we'd love to have you on at some point, and we'll have a loose plan B just in case.
Hell yeah. We love you, Jonathan.
I'll just come back on in case John so the plot of the book. Thanks, John, for your question. Quickie, how can I describe it in a couple words? I mean, it chronicles the appointments and the encounters of this itinerant character, Leopold Bloom, in Dublin over the course of just one ordinary day. Actually, I just picked it randomly, June 16th, 1904, which is cool because it's going to be soon. We're going to have a big party on the 16th of June to celebrate. And yeah, there's this parallel theme I'm running with, which is it's similar to kind of this epic poem by Homer, but you don't have to read it to understand Quickie. So yeah, I would say just check it out if you're curious.
Yeah, now you got into that character based on you were like walking past like a bowler hat, like society, and you were just like really entranced.
Yeah, it just came to me one day.
I love it. Okay, we're getting a little close to the hour mark, so thank you, Caitlin, for that thumbs up.
Oh, I didn't know it did that.
It's so aggressive.
Like I don't know how to take that away. Oh my god.
Just this fist that like shows up, and like what's funny is like on the YouTube thing through my studio, like it cuts off some of it, so it just looks like a fist was like coming through. Damn, Caitlin, what the fuck?
For listeners at home, Zoom apparently interpreted my hand gesture as a thumbs up, and without my consent, it superimposed an emoji over my screen.
Yeah. Well, I just tried it. It did not work, which made me feel stupid.
I don't know why it doesn't work.
Someone wants to know, we're going to try to go through these a little bit more rapid fire as we go into the hour mark, Lily. Paris Hilton or Lindsay Lohan?
Lindsay Lohan.
Hell yeah. What is an absolute necessary snack for a road trip?
Anything flavored like birthday cake.
Oh, shit. All right. I'm about it. Do you have a song or a band that makes you nostalgia hard for high school?
Hilary Duff, Metamorphosis album.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Pies or cake?
Cake.
Caitlin, feel free to jump in too if you just know like a song that was your nostalgia hard.
Come Clean was a big part of my high school experience.
So good. Oh my gosh, the music video, dramatique.
Mm-hmm. Driving in the rain to that song, man.
Yeah.
Being 17, wow.
You are inside the music video when that happens.
I have a very specific memory of driving my mom's Honda CRV to go to the Roxy store to like stalk a boy that I had a crush on with that song playing.
Wow, I would love to see a short film of that.
Yeah. How do you hope to die?
All of the ways at once.
All at once, hell yeah.
Scorpion sting.
I was thinking that same thing, just a massive one to the forehead. What is your stripper name going off of the combination of your first pet's name with the name of the street that you grew up on?
Dixie Chambers.
Holy shit. That's
Nice.
actually,
That's a really good one.
Yeah.
Mine is Muttley Old House.
Oh my god.
Rough.
There's a street called Old House. Shit.
Yeah, the street.
Yeah, your stripper name has a great personality.
Yeah.
The street that I grew up on is weirdly called Old House Road, which is a good example of how I know I'm in a simulation.
Mine would be Scuttles Parkhaven. Scuttles based on the seagull from fucking The Little Mermaid. Hell yeah. Scuttles. How do you overcome writer's block?
Oh, just, go out and have a kooky experience in your life.
Nice. What is your favorite movie soundtrack?
What's that P.T. Anderson? Oh, Magnolia.
Oh, that's a good one. Caitlin, do you have an immediate one that came to your mind?
You answer. Let me think about it. Titanic.
Oh shit. Okay. Talking about like fucking scores and shit. I don't even know. I was like immediately thinking like
Or
Orange
Romeo and
County.
Juliet.
Oh, Romeo and Juliet is a good one. I think about those songs. My thoughts are often with them. Let's get into the we got one more voicemail here and we'll play some games.
Hi, my name's Kevin Cook. I'm an old English major and a fan of good poetry. I'd like to ask Lily Lady how she gets her ideas and how to know which ones to keep and which ones to throw out. Thanks.
Oh, wow. Can we just take a moment for how cool that person sounds?
They sound very cool.
Wow. It sounds like they're cool enough to have one half of Cart giving birth to me. Yeah, thanks, Dad. From one writer to another. You know what's so funny? This is deviating. I was in LA, final lag of the book tour, West Coast, and I was reading. I was a little nervous, surprisingly, and I don't really get nervous, but I was feeling a lot of things. It was the end of the trip. I was going to this bookstore I'd never been to do a reading, and as soon as I get there, I see on one of the shelves my dad's book that he wrote. It's a biography of this gambler, Titanic Thompson. And I was like, oh, the universe is saying this is just everything's working out. So that was a great moment. Yeah.
That sounds awesome as a book, first of all. And what a name. And also what bookstore were you at?
I was at Stories in Echo Park.
My God.
That's like I've spent a lot of time at Stories.
Well, yeah, it's iconic. It was such a great time. And yeah, thanks Dad for the question and for appearing in Stories in book form.
Aww.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I try not to think too hard about it. I think just bimboing your way through authorship is really the move, like don't open up a Google Drive document and stare at it if the momentum is not in a prolific place. Just, go out and go to a comedy show by yourself or go do karaoke or go, get out of your body in some way. And then, the juices will flow. I think that just kind of not trying too hard is the way to produce something that feels like it was produced with a lot of joy. And that's kind of what I was trying to do with Quickie, because it was such a great process to write this book, and it's been really fun to promote it.
Hell yeah.
It's all in the title.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
I did write down a note about I want to ask if like there was like a little bit of baseball surrounding you when you were growing up, because you kind of like make allusions to different like baseball terminology. I spied your tattoo, and then I pulled up this gentleman's bibliography, and I spy a couple books about baseball actually. So now I'm guessing that baseball was a big part of your childhood.
Yeah, baseball is a huge part of. You know what? I've had my phone on airplane mode the entire time, but I've been waiting for a text from my dad that is giving me the MLB TV login because baseball season started, and I got locked out for some reason. Changed the password. It's okay. It's all good. But
opening day was Friday for a lot of teams.
Yeah, opening day was Friday. It's is huge. I've got a game pause to watch after this. Baseball is a huge part of my life. My dad's a sports writer. My parents actually met at Playboy. They're both writers for Playboy, and then my dad was working at Sports Illustrated and is an incredible author and very smart about all sports, but especially baseball. And I have a Pete Rose tattoo too. Which
That's okay. I was wondering who that. Okay.
Pete Rose, my dad's favorite player.
Well, I was wondering what the tattoo was specifically. I just kind of spied it, but that's incredible. Wait, so if Pete Rose, Wrigley Field, so is that your team? Or like, who was your team?
I'm a fan of the game, right? So
Okay.
I mean, I grew up in New York, so I watched the New York teams. But I think I'm gonna get into Padres this season.
Nice.
I don't know. I thought I wanted to be an umpire for a while. I think it would be. Maybe I still will be an umpire. I think it would be really cool to be the first kind of me of an umpire. Like there's one very specific identity of all umpires, and they rock. They do their job really well. I hope they do not become machines, because that's another thing that it's like trying to automize the game to make it faster. I'm super against all of that. But yeah, maybe that's my post, after the book promo, maybe I'll go to umpiring school.
Hell yeah, I'd be into it. Is there I would love to see that, because you might be the first official, like, well, I don't know how tall you are, but I'm assuming under 6 foot, because those guys usually they're looming.
That's a incorrect assumption.
Oh, my apologies.
Very tall. No, I'm still growing. Aspirationally, I'm over 6 feet.
Hell yeah.
One day, maybe after my next growth spurt. Yeah, I'm 5'2", but yes, you're right.
If you just joined us, we have 6'11" superstar Lily Lady on the show. I love it. I grew up with baseball too, and I love hearing all that.
Oh, yeah?
And I'm definitely going to check out one of those books
Totally.
after I check out Quickie for a second time, because it's that good. All right. We are at the hour mark, almost like perfectly. Do you have a little bit more time to play some games with us, Lily?
I have the whole night. The game is paused. It can be unpaused at any point.
Perfect.
Why does Zoom keep putting emojis over my screen?
Caitlin, for the listener at home, Caitlin is drunk. There's a hands up emoji now. Like, I'm not sure if it's meaning like stop, like an umpire, maybe, like were you trying to get involved in the conversation?
Yeah, that was my way of trying to contribute to the sports conversation, because I'm like desperately trying not to tune out as the moment people start talking about sports.
What were you raised in the States? What?
No, I was raised in mostly in the confines of my own imagination, honestly. And so I was even a cheerleader for some time in high school, and I would literally watch games and just dissociate so strongly, and I would like sense the energy of the crowd and know when to start the dances and which like dances and stuff to do, because I was like a captain too, so I would be like calling the shots of what we were doing. I didn't know what the fuck was happening any of the time. I don't have a single memory associated with the actual sports themselves. I was just like, people are happy. This is what we're going to do. People are sad. We're going to play this song. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, there's no cheerleaders in baseball, but maybe you could actually in KBO. So I was watching a lot of Korean baseball when the pandemic was on, and MLB was delayed, and there are some cheerleaders in Korean baseball, so maybe you can revive your cheerleading career in Korea.
Maybe. I have earnestly tried, because I used to be like anti-sports, but now it's literally just the kind of thing where I've tried so many times to like engage in games, and I appreciate the culture around it, and that it's something that connects people and that they get excited about. I look at a game happening and I find it very hard to pay attention.
That's fair. Yeah, I'm like that with some sports. Sometimes it just doesn't hit.
Yeah. There is something deeply, when it comes to baseball, I can't quite describe it, but there's something deeply I don't know, man. There's an old timiness to it that I love. Like, it's a lot of the other sports just feel so modernized and beyond, and there's just something about the pacing of it and the history of it that will always just, God, I feel like when I'm going up to a ballpark, I still feel like there should be like a little kid looking like he's from the Newsy musical or something like that, like walking up and being like, "Hey, so have you heard the great news today?" Like,
I do think the
stand up.
uniforms are attractive, and it like was one of my first memories of like starting to objectify men, and
Hell yeah.
and also I associate it with chocolate malts and Dodger Stadium. So
That's a great way in. You know, aesthetically, certainly, yeah. I think if you find any way in to the game, it could be the uniforms, it could be the songs, it could be anything. But yeah, that's why, I mean, what you were saying, Eric, that's why I'm so resistant to all these changes that are coming from top down, even just small things that they do now, like, you know, the pitcher, if they want to intentionally walk someone, doesn't have to throw 4 balls at the strike zone. It's just you just an ump, and then I hate that because, you know, historically things have happened when, you know, you could swing at one of the balls, or you could there could be a wild pitch. It just, baseball is so beautiful because it's a game of contingencies. So every single pitch, every single thing that happens changes the entire game. And I think the length of it is an asset. I think it's great to, you know, watch a game that lasts for 5.5 hours, and it's your whole day.
Absolutely. There have been times I've been, you know, because I'm from the Bay Area, so I go to Giants games, and there have been times where I have been there. It's just like, I'm not going to work the next day. Like, it's like you're there that late, and like, the energy, it's fucking indescribable sometimes when you're at one of those like perfect games where just the energy's there and everyone's staying, like it's going way past 10 or 11 o'clock at night, and everyone is not leaving because everyone's just like, we're all in this together. So good.
It's so good. Yeah, that's the best. That's why, you know, I love extra innings. And my favorite announcer, Michael Kay, always calls when the game goes into extra innings, he goes, and coming up after the commercial break, we have free baseball. And that's what I feel. It's like, why shorten the game? Let's lengthen the game.
Hell yeah.
Well,
you are among good company, my friend. All right. We are going to play, as we always do with our guests, the classic childhood game MASH. Did you ever play MASH?
Of course.
Hell yeah. Well, then you know exactly what we're about to get into. Let's just do it. I'm going to ask you for 2 places you'd love to live/retire, and one that would be the worst.
Okay. Speaking of Kanye, I would like to live/retire in Wyoming.
Okay. I thought you were going to say Chicago.
Also, Coney Island.
Oh, nice. Also, like that old, kindred spirit, my friend, because that is like, just like baseball, there's something about Coney Island that's just so like.
Coney Island Cyclones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it.
And then I would not like to live in Hawaii.
Damn. All right. What about 2 like dream jobs?
Dream job. Someone who is paid to, I guess, restaurant critic.
Oh, okay.
And Zamboni driver.
That'd be cool. And what would be like the worst?
The worst job would be, I mean, I guess a school, like anything related to children in school, like a substitute teacher, maybe.
Oh, that would be the worst of all the.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah. I mean, I feel so bad. We made like substitute teachers cry.
Me too. I made so many substitute teachers cry.
I don't know what the fuck was wrong with us, but it was just like one came in and it was just like an unspoken thing where it's like, we have to like ruin this person, like at the subconscious, at the id level, like everything needs to be just depleted.
100% fake names, just like making things up that the teacher would say we were allowed to do. I had one substitute teacher tell me that after the 50-minute lesson was up, like that they didn't want to have children anymore.
Oh no.
That's
I mean,
good.
Honestly,
that's
probably a valuable gift you guys gave that person.
I need more of that.
Control. Yes.
Your own children will be the worst people to you, probably worse than anyone.
What are 2 of your favorite colors?
Pastel pink and steel.
And what is your least favorite color?
Neon green.
Oh, interesting. feel like we've gotten 2 of those now. What are 2, like, if you could travel around in any car or mode of transportation, what would the 2 be?
Dodge Challenger in matte black,
Nice.
or bicycle built for 2, but I never have to pedal.
Like Mr. Burns. And then what is your least favorite?
Mode of transportation.
Like, what would be like if you're assigned to this for the rest of your life, you're like, that sucks.
Probably. I know they're iconic, but the old school New York City taxis, the way they smell inside, I just immediately feel nauseous and like puke just arrives in my throat. Okay. And so yeah, those ones.
Who are, you can use real people or celebrities, whoever you want, who are like 2 crushes where it's like, hey, this is going to be the person I'm with the rest of my life that you'd be into?
Oh my gosh. Okay. Probably, I've been replaying the video of Angelina Jolie making out with her brother at the Oscars.
Angelina, I've watched it several times too.
It's on repeat. So Angelina Jolie's brother, and also Dennis Rodman is just a perma crush.
Nice. It kept wanting to like autocorrect Jolie to Juliet. You said Dennis Rodman, right?
Yeah.
And then who would be like, oh, this is who I get to be with? Sucks.
Probably Ted Cruz.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. I mean, my middle school principal.
Who are we gonna choose?
Mr. Brown.
Mr. Brown. Is that a Clue character? Thank you, Caitlin. Yep, that sounds good. Well, let's do it. Okay. And then give me 3 random numbers.
17, 42, 99.
Okay. I always like how the chronologicalness of this always does not make sense. Can I get 2 dream animals? You can be as broad or specific as you want. That would be dreams to have, and then one that'd be like, ugh.
Okay. Dreams. Liger.
Nice.
Or a garden snake. I would not want to have. I'm not into small dogs, so I guess a Chihuahua.
Perfect. Thank you, autocorrect, for that one. Okay, I'm going to draw a spiral. You tell me when to stop.
Okay. Stop.
All right. You won't be able to see it at home, listener, but as I always show all our guests, I actually have an app where it even takes a little pencil and it starts crossing off and all that. But we're going to skip ahead. And, ooh, I just randomly earned 1 MASH cash just for playing. I wonder what MASH cash is used for. Okay. Once you graduate, you will find work in Coney Island as a Zamboni driver. Already so sick.
Yes.
You'll get around town in your steel bicycle built for 2. You'll marry Dennis Rodman, and you'll live in a shack, but you'll have 42 kids and an ever-loyal pet garden snake. Holy shit, that's
incredible.
That is incredible. Besides 44 of you
that's
and snake.
I'm gonna not pop those kids out myself. I can Angelina Jolie style, like kids will be inspired. Okay, that's manifestation is happening now.
This is it. I will post it up on the Instagram because this is actually legit, like one of the best.
Yeah, I'm gonna read that to myself every night before I go to bed.
Sorry, my own little dogs are going crazy right now. We don't usually record this early, so there's still like people out and about walking around and they're barking because they hear all these noises. So I apologize.
You're throwing some shade at them.
Yeah.
They were like, someone just said we're overbred. What?
Poor Murph. Okay, what was the last thing? Oh yeah. Okay. So one final thing we're gonna get into this evening is that you said you liked a little movie by the name of Freaky Friday. I'm certainly hoping that you meant the 2003 version because I pulled up personality quizzes based on that one specifically.
Of course.
Of course. I figured. Okay, so we're gonna do this. We're gonna play two. We've never done this before. This is gonna be new one, Caitlin. We're gonna do. I found two miniature personality quizzes, so I'm gonna give them both to you, Lily, because I want to see if you get the same person on both of them, because they're both actually they include a lot of people. It's not just mom and dot, short for daughter. Like we're talking full cast and care, short for character. So.
Okay, love.
We're gonna start with the BuzzFeed. Which character is your favorite? Okay, we have Harry, the little brother, Grandpa, Pepe, or Evan.
Grandpa.
Okay. That's the dicier part of the movie, maybe, but it's all right.
I don't remember it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you heard me cruising on the internet as a kid.
Yeah.
See.
Choose a song from the soundtrack. The classic cover of What I Like About You by Lilix, Simple Plan's Happy Together, Ashley Simpson's Just Let Me Cry, or Christina Vidal's Take Me Away.
Take Me Away.
Yeah, Caitlin just, speaking of oh, there she goes. Okay. Pick a member of Pink Slip, the band, that Lindsay Lohan's band. We have Maddie, we have Peg, her name's Peg, Anna, or literally none of them.
Anna, the hot goth.
Hell yeah. Which outfit would you wear? Okay, we got 4 different Lohan looks, and I'm just going to describe them to the best of my ability. We got Lohan in like a long black shirt thing, like a long sleeve is what I meant by it, and like denim jeans. We got Lindsay Lohan like in her iconic like denim like kind of band jacket from the movie with like the studded belt and the green pants. We have her other iconic look from it where she's wearing like the cargo green ones with the stud belt, and she's got like a little whale tail going on and like a baseball style like 3/4 sleeve shirt thing. And then we got Lohan in like I guess like a flannel shirt, like John Goodman and Roseanne type vibe.
Oh, definitely the one in the like low rider.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, the low jeans, low cut jeans.
Okay. Pick a lyric from the song Ultimate. You're the kind of friend who always bends when I'm broken. Like, remember when you took my heart and put it back together again? I've been wasting time with clueless guys, but now it's over. Or you're it, you're the ultimate, it's automatic, I'm sure of it.
I've been wasting my time with clueless guys, but now it's over.
Hell yeah. Okay, so you got Jake. You got Chad Michael Murray.
That's right. Major Jake energy right here.
Mm-hmm. I actually hadn't seen this movie in so long. I had to read the plot to kind of remember everything that's going on. So for those of you who don't know, classic switcheroo where mom and daughter switch roles for a day because they both like talk shit about each other or whatever. And so like, you know, they have to go through a day in one another's shoes. And I was reading at the end, it's so funny that the whole thing is based around the fact that like daughter is in a band and there's a big like battle of the bands going on one night, and the mom, Jamie Lee Curtis, shout out, is getting married, and she's having her wedding rehearsal the same night. So it's like a lot of the like bone of contention is resolved around that. And it's so funny because I'm reading the Wikipedia plot summary, and there's like a note like at the bottom of like the thing like near the end of the movie where the mom, I guess, had to quickly go like, oh, by the way, we're going to postpone the marriage so that you don't get married to my husband in your body, because I guess they realized like, oh, like that'd be weird because then she's gonna like fuck her new stepdad essentially on their wedding night.
Which I wish happened. Honestly, I would have made it a better movie.
I was honestly thinking that. I was like, imagine if Lohan in the mom's body was just kind of like, no, mom, it's all right. Like I got this. Like I'll just like. And the mom's like, no, like She's like, no, we're going to get married. Like it's chill.
And then Jamie Lee Curtis in the daughter's body hooked up with Chad Michael Murray, which I think should have happened because honestly, at the coffee shop, they had
the vibe.
The vibe was there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, I'm glad I got Jake because Jake has major fuckboy energy, but also has a heart of gold. So
I did not remember this. I thought that he went to the school there, but apparently he is on the school staff, and he's fucking around with Lindsay Lohan, who goes to the school.
You know, Jake. There's something in the school guidelines. It's yeah. Jake is definitely breaking some rules.
I like it. Hey, Jake breaks rules. We love it. That's what we love about him. Okay, we're going to do one more quiz. Let's see if you get Jake again. Or maybe this will be like Jake is like your like sun sign, and maybe this will be like your moon sign, Freaky Friday character.
Other than just testing BuzzFeed's algorithms.
Yeah. What do you want to be when you grow up? A doctor / psychologist, an actress / singer, an athlete / mechanic, a businessman of some description, or haven't decided yet?
Athlete / mechanic.
Nice.
Umpire.
There we go. When people are nasty to you, you find them and calmly ask them why they were acting nasty. Do something mean back to them. Ignore them for a while. If they're a friend, you'll forgive them. This one is separate. It just says forgive and forget. Or play a practical joke on them.
Oh, play a practical joke.
Yeah. Dish it. If they're serving, dish it.
On your chair.
Hell yeah. What is your favorite school subject? Mechanics, English, work studies, music, or I like all the subjects?
Work studies.
When you get home from school, you study and catch on work I forgot to do today, play music with my friends in the garage, go work at your part-time job or stay and help out at the school. Like very two different vibes. Pop over to your boyfriend / girlfriend's house and stay for dinner, or terrorize my big or little sibling's bedroom.
Ooh. Play music with my friends.
Okay. And finally, what is your least favorite school subject? English, social studies, anything that doesn't involve my friends, math, or don't have one?
Math.
Okay. All right, it's calculating. Oh, you're covering the spectrum, my friend, because you're getting down with Jake on one quiz, and on the other one, Ryan, aka the like stepdad to be. The same.
Oh, damn.
It says here.
Wow.
It says for a description. Unfortunately, BuzzFeed didn't give a description on theirs, but this one does. It says, although people misunderstand you and may not like you, inside you have a heart of gold and want everyone to be friends with everyone. And then it's like a black and white picture of Mark Harmon.
It's your Scorpio moon and Leo sun energy.
Totally. That's exactly right. I'm really cruising all of the female characters in Freaky Friday. Yeah, I've got something going on. The third quiz, I would definitely get Grandpa.
Yeah. All right. Well, on that note, Lily, that is all the time we have this evening. Can you believe it? We just breezed through a whole episode. And I'm going to say right now, most professional episode we've had yet. And best.
What?
Yeah.
This is the best time. I had a great, excellent time. I'm going to do some more BuzzFeed quizzes, honestly, while I watch the baseball game.
Hell yeah. And if you're just by chance just now catching this on the YouTube, I'm going to be re-airing at 8 o'clock our standard time. I apologize to our guests. I kind of messed up that one. But it's all good. We'll be replaying it, and soon enough the podcast will be dropping. But until that time, Lily, is there anything that you'd like to plug?
I don't think so. If you want to chat to me, as I said, I love chatting with strangers. So my Instagram is Lady Lils with a Z. And Quickie's out now. Thanks, everyone. Thank you so much
for
having me.
Get it. It's a great book. Thank you so much for being on the show. We had an absolute blast. Caitlin, is there anything you want to plug? You actually just dropped something new. We kind of talked about it last episode, but feel free to bring it up again.
The song?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I have. It's Bandcamp only, but I have a new single out.
Sting.
God, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. Yeah, I have a new single out on my Bandcamp. It's called Keep Me. And I'm also doing a lot more one-on-one remote sessions right now. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you know that I absolutely hate the American healthcare system. And I'm very dedicated and passionate about getting people to be more empowered in their self-healing ability, because we all have, it's like a combination of just kind of common sense. And by common sense, I mean, you do have to seek out the information, but then it's stuff like, did you drink water, and are you getting enough vitamins, and are you exercising? Are you sleeping? Are you resting? Are you breathing? And the way I do it is I tap into people's energy systems by doing a tarot chakra spread. And then from there, I have almost 15 years of experience. I was a yoga teacher, and then I was a licensed massage therapist in California for a long time. I've studied craniosacral therapy. And so I draw on all that. And I've also been in therapy for 10 plus years with the same therapist. So pat on the back to me for that one. But yeah, I like helping people through that sort of wisdom of tarot to help them identify their strengths and weaknesses. And then from there, we figure out what's going on with the energy and how to just implement really simple things into their routine, including just reframing the way they're looking at some things so that they can be less dependent on, pharmaceuticals. And you don't have to cut pharmaceuticals out of your life. I would never tell anyone like, oh, you don't have this disorder, this doesn't exist. Like, that's not where I come from at all. It's really just about like, how can you reframe this in a way that like, oh, you have anxiety, so you're really good at planning, you're really good at being on time, you're really good at like knowing what to do in a disaster, and just practical things that people can take to feel like they're just more in control of their mental health, physical health. So if you're interested in that, it's all on my Instagram, and I'm excited to be doing that stuff right now. So you can do that. You can check out my Bandcamp, caitlinb.bandcamp.com. All my albums are on there. And I don't know, if you follow the show, you probably know my Instagram. So please don't DM me. DM Lily.
Yeah. There you go. She'll take it.
If you're at all weird and you want to talk to the real life Jake from Freaky Friday, you know where to find me.
Exactly.
All right. Well, Lily, once again, thank you for joining us this evening. We'll have to have you on again in the future. And thank you to all the YouTube people that were following along and the future YouTube people that will be following along. Caitlin, as always, thank you for being the co-host with the Mo-host. I'm going to say goodnight to y'all. Good night, guys.
Good night.
Bye.
Buenas noches.
I don't know how to exit that.